What's cracking, guys? Omar Isaf here, back with another video. In this video today, I got a special guest. I got Alex from Montreal, coming all the way to Toronto. Went to the Toronto Pro Show, saw some hot guy babes. We got a workout session in, and I think it's important today to talk about the yoke because that's what you're primarily known for, developing the upper back, the traps, the neck. And I guess I want to first ask you, why is that important, bro?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. Well, okay, so in regards to yoke training, it's been very underrated for a long time because most people are all about chest and arms. I mean, you see these gym bros every single day. And few people actually emphasize the neck, the traps, and the upper back. I mean, when was the last time someone asked you, hey, how much is your neck curl? Pretty much never, because neck training has been looked down upon. You know, we're not really looked down upon, but it's very uncommon in a sense. I mean, you see MMA fighters doing it, wrestlers, field athletes, but not for bodybuilding purposes. In fact, even if you compete in bodybuilding, you're not going to get points for having a thick neck. But the thing is, as a natural, having that wider neck can literally make or break physique. So it's very important that you train it. Same thing for the traps. People say that if you're natural, you can't have big traps, but that's just because they're not following the right training methods. There's too much minimalism going on, and they're not incorporating the right special exercise that specifically target the upper traps, which give you that nice pop. And the upper back, I mean, it's pretty much common sense that it's going to help you look big in a shirt, and that's your mass measurement. When you look at someone, upper back is what really gives you that size. So if you really want to maximize your proportions and look as big as you can without taking drugs, then you need neck, traps, upper back.
Sounds weak, bro. I'm just going to start using Tren and my traps are going to grow automatically. Come on, man. This natural life. So tell me then what the routine would be for someone that is interested in growing their traps, because you define yoke as kind of being traps, neck, and upper back, correct?
Yeah. And we could throw shoulders in there too, but usually we're just talking about pulls here for the most part. So the routine is actually quite simple. You don't need that much. People think it's complicated, but that couldn't be further from the truth. You need a heavy pull of some type, and that could be anything from rack pull above the knee to really overload the upper back and the traps. It could be a 4 to 6 inch block pull to really take out the lower back and the hamstrings as much as possible, really focus on what we're trying to target here. It could be a high handle trap bar deadlift. It could be done off blocks as well. Point is, you want a heavy pull in your training. I mean, this is really what's gonna make or break your physique. This is really the most important part, a heavy pull to get that weighted stretch overload, which is what builds the traps in the first place. Secondly, you're going to want to incorporate a power shrugging exercise. Now, there are many variations of this. It can be done with a clean grip, a snatch grip, using the trap bar. It doesn't really matter. The point is, the power shrug emphasizes that weighted stretching component. You're getting the concentric, you're squeezing at the top for a second, and then the bar is kind of yanking you down really hard, really pulling on those traps. So I feel that for naturals, they've got to be going heavy. Or not, if not going heavy, I mean, at least doing volume work in the power shrugging style. So as opposed to just grabbing light dumbbells and slowly squeezing at the top, I would strongly recommend that you use a barbell of some type and any variation you like and just hit that with the cheating style using the leg drive. And don't worry about the form. It's not the most important thing. I mean, if you look at Olympic weightlifters, a lot of their exercise are done explosively and many of them have amazing trap development. So it's not about the slow and controlled squeezing. It's really about getting that weight in, getting that volume in. And then you'd also want to add some rows. Rows should be your new religion, obviously. So T-bar row in particular, that's really an exercise that's going to emphasize the upper traps on the way down. Now, I don't recommend that you do it with your body bent over. I would prefer that you do it kind of more in a more upright fashion. You'll feel the traps much more this way. And it'll obviously take stress off the lower back. And the reason why I say a cheating style is because it emphasizes the weighted stretch at the bottom. You know, when you do regular rows, a lot of lat, a lot of upper back, a lot of traps as well, but you're not overloading as much as you could be. You know, so I recommend that you use those legs, get some hips in there, and at the bottom you will feel the weighted stretch. And obviously you'll be able to lift more weight too. So there's that. There's also the Yates Row if you want. The Yates Row is a basic barbell row, but with less range of motion. Some guys do it with the underhand grip, but for the purpose of building upper back and traps, not really necessary. So double overhand is perfectly fine. You can either do it to where it's directly below your kneecap at the bottom, or directly at the kneecap. Doesn't really matter too much. Point is, you don't want the plates to be really close to the floor like a traditional barbell row. And that's a really good exercise right there if you want to use a straight bar. And then finally, you have to train the neck. I mean, if you just look, the neck and the traps are directly connected. And whenever you work your neck, your traps are also being worked. And the best exercise that I could think of for most of you guys, I mean, for pretty much anyone watching right now, would be the neck curl. And as far as sets and reps are concerned, 4 sets of 25 repetitions using 30 to 60 second rest intervals. And then basic progressive overload applies. But that'll be the main neck builder in a sense. So it's actually quite simple. You need a heavy pull of some type, whatever variation you want, something that really overloads the upper back and the traps, a heavy power shrug, heavy cheat row, and then direct neck work. That combination right there will really fry the upper back and the traps and give you the best gains possible naturally.
Yeah, and we actually have some before photos of you before you started all of this and now. Currently, Alex, give a little bit about your stats here, like height, weight, and then maybe how long it took you to make the transformation that we'll show from the before to currently.
Well, my before pictures, I was actually training for a very long period of time, and I already had a great physique. I would say at least 80 to 90% of my muscle mass was already established. But because I had a pencil neck and no traps, it just didn't look right. The proportions were off. And in fact, I used to film older videos in front of the camera, and it'd be like, hey, does this guy even lift? Because the neck and traps are that important. So I was weighing around, it was in the 170s at the time, and when I got really yoked, I ended up at 186, and that's kind of my maintenance point when I'm really trying to look as big as possible, especially with the higher body fat, because the higher body fat was stored in the neck and the traps, therefore accentuating the look. So that's important as well. Yeah, so it honestly didn't take that much time, and I would say that for you guys, it's extremely doable in a few months. Like, I've had guys run neck training programs, and in 3 months they gain an inch or two. Obviously, these are novice gains, it's beginner. After a certain point, it's going to slow down tremendously, but if you're brand new to neck training, an inch or two is very, very doable in less than a year. Totally 100%. It's not like the arms where going from 16 to 18 can take some years. It's really fast progress for the neck, you know?
And now frequency of training, where you say we have this routine here, how would you recommend one would implement this?
It depends on the routine that you're running, like an upper lower, a push pull, full body, whatever. I would say every 48 hours is really good. For the neck in particular, every 48 hours should do you very, very well, especially if you're only going to be doing the neck curl, okay? For the upper back and the traps, I mean, again, it depends on your routine, but I would say minimum twice a week. Minimum twice a week, 3 times a week is a nice little spot as well, and 4 if you really know how to auto-regulate your training. If you're not going to auto-regulate correctly, like the management of your volume and intensity, then I would prefer that you go a lower frequency approach. You know, for me personally, I have a volume day where it's just low repetitions, lots of overload, and then a volume day where it's more like bodybuilding type training. And that's twice a week full body. But I'm not telling you to do this. I mean, you run whatever program you like, but at least twice a week yoke training, definitely.
Yeah, and I think the proof is in the pudding when we show the before and after photos. It's not like you're blessed with the genetics to have, you know, a thick neck or to have a yoke. This is something that you actively worked on. So for those watching this video, incorporating some of these movements will definitely help.
Yes.
And now let me ask you this, Alex. For people that want to find out more, because I think you put out great content, where should people find you?
They can find me on AlphaDestiny, the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
My Instagram at OutAlpha, and my website, outalpha.com.
Yeah, so we'll link all those in the description. Guys, if you enjoyed this video and you thought to yourself, I want to grow some traps and maybe this is going to help me, make sure to like the damn video. Also, check out Alex's channel. All the info will be linked in the description. And we'll see all you guys, my rascals, in that next video. Peace.